Welcome to another episode of The Shortstop. My name is Shane. Today with me is J Birdy founder and owner Darryl Silverstein. How are you tonight, bud?
Great. Thank you for having me, Shane.
Absolutely. The first thing I want to dive in, just for people who don't know you, just kind of give me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm just like yourself, former baseball player, grew up in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, played baseball up until I'd say the age of 30 years old at all different levels, amateur, university, and then I became a coach. And believe it or not, coaching is way more fun than playing as you get older. I had the luxury of coaching both my sons and coaching at many different levels. Still uh, hanging on coaching, which is great, and I love it. And was honored enough to be named Coach of the Year by Baseball Ontario and Baseball Canada a few years ago.
When J Birdy first came to mind, like what was the execution to even get a brand started from the bottom up?
Great question. It's certainly not easy, and I got to be honest with you. You know, the idea like let's just start a brand is not easy, but how it all came to was over COVID. I'd ordered a bunch of merchandise and clothes from different baseball brands that were out there. And I just saw how it was packaged, how it was delivered. And I felt there was no touch, there was no sentiment from the people that did it. And I'm a lover of baseball. I love the history of baseball in Canada. Next to me is I got a bunch of baseball books about baseball in Canada, and kind of put it all together. How could we merge my love for baseball, my passion for history, and then perhaps start our own clothing brand? And that's what we did. And it is a baseball brand based on nostalgia. You know, if you order from us, we overpopulate the number 38 because Canada did invent baseball in Beachville in 1838, not in Cooperstown. So we promote that. And we want to make sure that everybody has a tremendous experience. So if you've ordered from us, you'll see that things come beautifully packaged in tissue paper. We give a mini helmet that you can eat ice cream or cereal out of, pins, stickers, and it's high quality fashion. And we just want to promote as much of Canadian baseball as we're able to.
When you look at the Canadian baseball as a whole, obviously we've seen so much growth. Not only with the Jays starting to do well, even with the World Baseball Classic that just passed, I saw more hype around that when it came to Canadian baseball than I think I ever have.
Yeah,
What do you think us as Canadians need to do to keep growing the game here?
I think we're doing a great job now. And I think just from my personal belief, seeing some of the statistics and knowing people in minor baseball in Ontario and seeing how there's a rise of registration at the younger level, we're doing a great job. You know, and it is piggybacking tremendously off the success of the World Baseball Classic, but also at a time now where we have less professional baseball teams. At one point in the 80s and 90s, Alberta and BC had a tremendous amount of minor league baseball teams, as in Ontario with the New York Penn League. But the growth of it is phenomenal. That means that less people may be playing soccer or traditional hockey in Canada. But I think that we're also developing our own stars, and they're given back at the community level. And most of the provinces have their own stars, whether it was Jason Bay or Joey Votto a generation before, or the Naylor brothers now. There's and we just see the stars that are coming up. Canada's always had a connection with baseball. We've always had it, and now we're just seeing more people getting involved, which I love. As a coach, it's having tryouts or hearing that tryouts are overpopulated with kids. That's what you want to hear, and that they're excited. And it's still a sport that doesn't cost overly much. At the grassroots level, Baseball Canada is doing a tremendous amount with Rally Cap, amongst other things. Local organizations are doing a lot to keep kids retained in it, not just dropping off at certain ages. So I'm really happy about seeing what's transpired at the Sandlot level for baseball in Canada.
I'm not sure if you've seen many of my episodes, if any. I started this as more of a slow pitch centric show, but I'm trying to branch out into baseball, fast pitch,
Right,
everything ball related. But
right.
I think the beauty of slow pitch is that, like myself, former baseball player, a lot of the guys I play with are former baseball players. It still gives us an avenue to jump in and
Absolutely.
continue playing as long as we can really without the I guess the workload that comes with playing
Yeah,
baseball.
absolutely. What I love about slow pitch and just the transition that is that or softball or even adults that play hardball, it's typically a sport where you cross that borderline of 18 to 21. You're like, all right, my body's kind of banged up. Don't know if I could throw. We were chatting before about how, you give it your all. I had Tommy John in my early 20s and I shut down baseball and I came back in my late 20s. But what you're doing is you've created a great niche for yourself to talk about slow pitch, to talk about softball, and it gives men and women a chance to come back, have that team unity, get a night, 2 nights, 3 nights out a week, play on multiple teams, and still love this sport as opposed to, which is our version of shinny hockey for baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would attribute it to the same thing. It's pretty much the shinny version
Yeah,
of hockey, but
yeah,
the beauty of this now is I feel like there's more competitive avenues as well for the people who still want to keep
yeah,
that competitive edge, but
yep,
there are still the recreational sides where you just want to go out with a couple friends, maybe have a couple drinks and just
yeah.
say what's up and hang out with your friends. So
I
I think it's kind of spanned so perfectly.
Oh yeah, I played so much high-level baseball between the ages of 10 through 21. After I had my elbow surgery, I just came back and played in a co-ed league for a few years before getting that real itch to play senior baseball. And that took me till I started coaching my sons in 2016. So I completely understand.
So you were the 2024 Baseball Canada and Baseball Ontario Coach of the Year. Kind of what is your advice to coaches coming up on how to kind of break everything down?
That's a great question. I think me and you could spend a full hour not just doing like a shortstop episode on that. I'm a firm believer in 3 words, and I've been saying it since I've been coaching my sons when I first started. It has to come down to retention, development, and fun. And I've been talking and preaching those 3 words for a decade now, coaching. If the kids come back, we're doing something right. If we're aligning that to development, we're doing something right. And if they're having fun, we're doing something right. Right now, everybody is caught up on wins and losses. And I've been telling the parents that I've coached for many years, you probably won't remember this July night at 12U or this May night at 11U or even that, August afternoon Sunday game at 15U because it really doesn't matter. But if we have strong teammates and they're friends and they develop into strong ball players, the likelihood of us coaching and developing kids in the major leaguers, it's possible. NCAA D1, D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA, it's possible. But I want the youth and the coaches just to make baseball fun. If you get on a winning streak, do something fun. Reward them. Don't make practices demanding. Make practices fun. I would always make practice about development, but we'd also have fun. And I think that if we could stick to that, coaches and kids will enjoy coming to baseball because the 10U win, tournament win, it gets forgotten upon. But if that 10U team sticks together throughout all the years, and then over time they get married and those same group of kids are at their wedding, then as a coach, you can look back and go, I did a good job. That to me is what it's all about.
Going back a bit, you've had a lot to overcome in your life. You went blind in one eye at 13. You were diagnosed with brain cancer a couple years ago, and yet you still keep continuing to push forward with this positive attitude. And I know a lot of people feel like they're down on their luck and things aren't going their way. What is your message to them?
Never give up. Just like life is like baseball, there's always another at bat. You can have the best barrel up and hit a line drive and it feels good off the bat and it just finds a glove. And that's life. Things could be going well and then they can't be going well. If we're pitchers, we throw our best pitch. It could be hit over the fence. We throw our worst pitch and somebody could swing at it. And I've transferred baseball into my life. And sometimes you go 0 for 3. The next day you go 0 for 3. You'll eventually get a hit. And I think that baseball set that perfect mindset for me as I became an adult, as I'm a dad, to teach my boys, to teach the kids that I coach. because life is going to be tough and sports is tough, but mainly life is tough. But to not give up. There's always a new day, there's always that page to turn, and setting goals for yourself. And that's been my thing since I was young. I overcame a childhood trauma being blind in one eye at the age of 13. I felt that was rock bottom. And then I got baseball taken away from me having elbow surgery only to come back, which was great. But then being diagnosed later in life with brain cancer, my only goal was to come back and coach again. It was never for any awards. It was to show people that you can be on chemotherapy, you can be on radiation, but if I can persevere through this, maybe there's a kid or a parent or somebody that else in the baseball world that could see me overcoming that adversity and just showing up to the yard, putting my pants on, and going out there and coaching. That's what drives me every day when I wake up. I have a goal to accomplish that day.
When you were a kid, before going blind in one eye, even what even got you into baseball in the first place?
I still am just the biggest fan of this game. I don't my dad never played baseball, but he'll tell stories that, I picked up a glove and a tennis ball and I went out in the backyard and just started throwing baseballs against the wall. And then I banged out my parents' basement just by throwing baseballs. I would pretend that I was different Oakland A's and Toronto Blue Jays, and I would mimic their batting stances and the pitchers, how they would pitch, and getting ground balls and pretending I was different fielders. That was my way of just playing independently. Little did I know that I would start collecting baseball cards and trading them. And as I got older, wanting to get the uniforms and hats, which I think was probably the start to what ended up becoming J Birdy. But I just found this love for the game. I was on, my parents put me in softball from the age of 5 till I was 9. And then I went and played hardball or rep baseball at the age of 10. But I can't put my finger on what it truly was. My parents did take me to Cooperstown in 91. And I do think that was, for me, the Disneyland, the Universal Studios, for me in my world, because everything was baseball. And it was just this it was like a utopia. Everywhere I turned, there was baseball. There was something nostalgic. And that just became a love for me. And then learning on that trip when I left, I didn't just get a jersey, I got a Jackie Robinson jersey. And then having my dad teach me all these cool things about Jackie Robinson, how he played in Montreal, why he played in Montreal, what made him so special. I was like, that's a jersey I would fall in love with. Still have it to this day. So that that was perfect. And then obviously growing up in Toronto in the late 80s, early 90s didn't hurt at all. That certainly helped. And then just having some great teammates and who always wanted to play catch with me. And my dad always wanted to come to games. So I think that's what it was.
I think Canadian heritage when it comes to baseball, there's so much that people still don't know. Like there's such a story to be told when it comes to baseball in
I
Canada.
read this book. I learned something new every day I read the book. Are you familiar with Sleeman's beer?
Yeah.
Okay. George Sleeman owned the Guelph Maple Leafs, which became the Guelph Royals. And he was the first person to sell beer at baseball, one of the first people. But he also did very unique things to bring people to the games. I had no idea that George Sleeman was involved, and he's inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. So there's so many stories. Or Roberto Clemente playing baseball for the Montreal Royals. There's just endless amounts of things that you just find out over time. And that's why I love having Jay Birdy, because we're able to help share these stories with people, either through social media or through our gear.
A lot of Jay Birdie is based on nostalgia. What was the mindset in choosing that avenue rather than more recent things?
We don't want to be a copycat of anybody. We want to be our own independent family business. That's the goal. And I think my love, or not, I think knowing that my love is the history of baseball in Canada, coaching kids, and you share some of these stories, and they go, I had no idea, coach, that Babe Ruth hit his first home run in Toronto. Like, how do we package that into something, right? One day, right? That the greatest baseball player potentially of all time was in this city, hit his first professional home run. how do we share that? So that was the goal, right? And over time, and it will continue to be our goal, is to share all these great stories to the best of our ability over time. We don't want to be a brand of some MLB team or minor league team. We want to be our own independent self, sharing and communicating as many stories as we can, having all different colors, not being locked into a color, representing Canada, representing all of our stories. And our foundation is being nostalgic. And I think that's pretty cool.
Where do you see the future of J Birdy going?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I love the idea of being an entrepreneur. And I see us branching off and doing some really cool things. I think it will just not simply be a brand that is exclusively for clothing. I think that we've got some really great ideas and some partners that we can branch out. But I think at the core, for myself, it'll be mainly this clothing brand. We're really doing well with hats right now. That seems to just be our sweet spot, which we absolutely love. So we'll see. I think that if we can execute this plan, we want to be the dominant baseball brand for Canadians. We want to be the brand that parents watch their kids play at the Sandlot or at the Yard, or if they go to any major type professional game, whether it's the new CBL or any type of league, that they would wear J Birdy proudly with our colors.
We spoke on the phone and you brought up a new venture. I'm not sure if you
Yes,
want to talk about it on this,
sure.
um, but you mentioned Beanball.
Yes. Beanball was our first entrepreneurial idea. And, tongue in cheek, sitting on the shelf. Beanball will be a big time rival coffee brand in Canada by the end of 2026. We're completely rebranding it. We're completely repackaging it. Anything that is out there now, will soon be changed. And we want to be able to provide a true nostalgic brand similar to J Birdy, to Canadians. And I think that through Beanball, we'll be able to tell a different story than what Jay Birdy is able to do. But we also want to be able to help a lot of people. One of the gaps that we found with Jay Birdy is that there's a lot of minor baseball teams and charities that reach out to us asking us for donations. With Beanball, we're able to create a label and we can help them fundraise, which I think is going to be a great avenue. I also feel that we'll be able to tell really different stories, but it's going to be a little bit aggressive too, because getting hit by pitch is fun and it's a nice tongue in cheek. Um, so that's something that's going to come out, or it's out, but I wouldn't say it's where it needs to be right now. But I'm proud to say that we are going to have a fresh to roast brand by the end of 2026, if not sooner. And what I love about it is that it's going to be absolutely fresh. It won't be like you're sitting in the bullpen or sitting on the bench. You're literally going to order your coffee, and it's going to go right to your door, and it'll be a baseball themed coffee brand.
The thing I love so much about that is you mentioned how you have minor league team or teams reaching out for sponsorships and such. This doesn't even need to be baseball only. Like it can span across so much, whether it be baseball, fastball, uh, slow pitch,
Absolutely.
even any sport really that you just have a team logo on, and being able to take that and brand it yourself as your team to sell out. I think
Yeah.
that's just like a very good niche market to be in.
Yeah, whether it's like a 9U team, a slow pitch team, a softball team, a fast pitch team, a house league select team, we get tournaments. We get so, and I have a community relations background, and it kills me, like it pains me that I can't help everybody, but because I'd love to. But if we can do a label, something really cool, and they have this affinity to it, like that's our team brand and our name on a cool packaged coffee, and they're able to make some dollars from it and it goes back, then I feel that I'm able to help them. And, having a disability and overcoming what I've overcome, at this point in my life, I just want to help people. And I think that gives a really great opportunity. And it's really what we wanted to do from the start. Beanball was a great beginning. Jay Birdy just took off. We're like, all right, Beanball, you're just gonna wait for a sec. We'll literally keep you on the bench and on the shelf, but I really feel happy that there's going to be an opportunity where people reach out to us. We can say, hey, like, let's create a really cool bag for you. Like we'll design it, you can design it, and we'll have our shared mutual logos on it, and they can go out and sell it and make a couple bucks for their team. I feel like that's an honor to help teams.
I'll end it with one last question for you, a little more deep.
Sure.
How do you want to be remembered?
Well, mainly as a fantastic dad and husband. That to me, that's what I would love to be remembered as. There's that to me, that is the petit resistance. There's nothing more. I've won many championships and I've won many rings and I've won many medals and many trophies, but there's nothing better than seeing my children succeed in life and seeing my wife succeed at life. That's how I want to be remembered. Outside of that, I would love if there's an anecdote or some type of semicolon that says that I was a half decent ball player that stayed involved in baseball. But I'd also like to personally be remembered as somebody who just was a person who overcame adversity. That, there was a lot of times when the going got tough and never gave up and was relentless in the pursuit of never giving up. That I could just be somebody that go, hey, you got to remember Darryl. He never gave up. He had his back up against the wall with being blind in one eye. He played university baseball, played up until he was 30, decided to switch into coaching, and at the times when you would never think that someone can actually get to the yard, did, and was rewarded by getting some really cool awards. But mainly being known as a great dad and a great husband and a son and brother and uncle, cousin, like obviously that's the number one goal. But in this sport, I'd like to think that I've got a great name. I'd like to think that people, the connections that I have and the friendships that I've made are tremendous. I love seeing people succeed. I love now being in my early 40s and seeing how my teammates have succeeded, seeing how they'll still take my phone calls, they'll still reply back. They're always checking in to see how I'm doing, old coaches as well. That's the best. That is truly the best feeling.
All right, Daryl, if you have anything to plug, this is your time to do so. If not, we're just going to send it home.
Thanks, Shane. For people that want to check us out, jbirdie.ca is where you can find us. We're all over social media. Check out our Instagram, J Birdy Baseball Co. Soon you'll see Beanball, which will not just be a coffee brand. We've got some really cool things on the go with Beanball. I would say check that out on social media, but it's ever changing. But thank you for your time. This was amazing. I'd love to come back if there's an opportunity and talk some baseball with you anytime.
Absolutely, man. I will have you back on here. Definitely. I
Thank
can
you.
talk ball for forever.
Me too.
So if you ever need to just give me a shout and talk ball, I'm there.
Let's do it, Shane. Anytime.
All right, Daryl, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You got it.